Hello, dear friends, and welcome to the Early Music Podcast. My name is Darina Ablogina. The European Early Music Association, REMA, is currently going through a process to encourage transition for its members, more sustainability, inclusion, diversity, access for audiences and artists. Early music today embraces a multitude of perspectives, breathing new life into age-old compositions while challenging the boundaries of what we once understood about this era. In this season, we will discuss how diversity, be it cultural, musical, or interpretive, has played a key role in shaping the evolution of early music. In this episode, we will discover the magic Drottningholm Theatre, its transition into the future.
My name is Karinsdotter. I am the general manager of Drottningholms Slottsteater. The most exciting moment should have been when it opened in 1766. It was the Queen Lovisa Ulrika. She came as a princess from Prussia, and she decided to build the theatre. And it was very important for the development of Swedish culture.
How do you develop theatre nowadays, in nowadays realities?
We try to find productions that could be interesting for the audience of today. We want to do them in collaboration with good research, but also present them in a way so they feel relevant for the audience of today.
Do you perform only Baroque operas, or what kind of repertoire is circulating in the theatre?
For the last couple of years, it has been the Baroque repertoire. For instance, last year, the Fairy Queen, Purcell, and this year, Armide Lully, which has never been performed in Sweden before, or staged in Sweden before.
Maybe we can come to the social interaction of the theatre with the audiences. How do you develop your audiences? How do you attract them? And how do you interact with your audience?
I think it's very important to work with young audience and to have a production every year, because then the teachers know that they can come here every year with their children. And when they find that the productions here are good, then they want to come back. So we have a good circle there. And also to have good programs so they can work in schools, not only to come here for the productions. And also to work with children with disabilities, to have an open theatre. And last year we had one of the performances of the Fairy Queen that was translated into sign language. So it was a deaf actor on stage. So she didn't only put the sign language to the text, but she also could interpret the music and shifts in emotions. Opera is a very good art form for deaf people, because they have the vibrations of the music in their bodies, and they can here at Drottningholm they can see the conductor, they can see the musicians. So it was a fantastic way to invite a new audience to the opera.
And how do you find the ways to collaborate with all these artists? How do you invite also people with disabilities to take part? So what are the tools?
Our music director, Francesco Corti, he is traveling, working all the time, all around the world. So he has a very clear idea of what kind of artists that fits into each production. We work with specialists in the field for each production. And for the young audiences and for children with disabilities, we have our own ways to make networking. So for the schools, it's important to have networks with teachers. So they are invited here each autumn and spring for evenings, especially for them, where we introduce our upcoming events and what's suitable to do with children, also with the main production, so that they are aware of what we are doing. And teachers talk to other teachers. So if they are content, then they tell their colleagues, and then it's like the network is growing constantly.
And you were telling about the summer school where children have performed an opera. Could you tell more about this project?
So it's like a summer camp for children with disabilities. So they work with an opera and then they make their own version of it. It's fantastic to see how much this engages the whole families, because the children cannot be here by themselves. They need to have like a helper, and usually it's somebody from the family. They are often crying when they see how their children are developing, and they do things that they didn't even know was possible for them to do, and that they are integrated in this beautiful environment, welcomed here.
Could you spot the difference? How did the audience change throughout these years of your leading?
Well, this is only my 4th summer, but I can see that it's easier to get children's audience, because this year it was full, all 16 performances was full very, very quickly. So we can see that work has been easier for each year.
And what are your plans for the future, for the next seasons, in terms of this work?
We will start with the school project in a school in socially, economically difficult area in Stockholm. So we will work with the whole school for 3 years. So that's a program that we start this autumn. So they can work with text, they can work with music, they can make poetry, they can dance, and they can create their own production. The point is that the children are getting tools to get to know themselves better and to have a voice.
And will it be a newly written opera, or it will be an opera from the Baroque time that you will adapt?
They will work. It will come from the kids, but they have the tools comes from the opera world. Mm-hmm. And then they can work with stories from the Baroque world, and they can work with elements from the Baroque world.
So you also work with some psychologists?
No, we work with musicians, singers, dancers, drama teachers who has a lot of experience in working with children and with working with children with disabilities, to have the eyes for what they need.
Yes. And what are the plans for the theatre in the new season?
It's actually not in the open yet.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you for listening to our episode. Please find all the additional information in the description box. I wish you all the best. Bye.